Patrick, how did you like, or what did you think of Straw Dogs?
So I liked it, but I'm going to be of two minds even when I talk about this. Because obviously the centerpiece of the film is the siege. It's the home invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff is amazingly well done. It's so well acted by Hoffman. It's so well directed and well edited. This is, again, one of Peckinpah's strengths is his editing. But what I didn't like about it is I didn't really feel like all that happened earlier in the film really led to that.
Yeah.
It informed it in a few specific ways, like the scene when Scott was about to rape her again. Obviously, that scene is impacted by the earlier scene. That's unquestionable.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some of the stuff with the character where, like, as I pointed out, Dustin Hoffman is accused of being a coward time and time again. But at the same time, and I think this was good too, though, is the thing. I thought it was really interesting that as this was going on, no one had all of the information. Dustin Hoffman did not know he was defending someone who, yes, did actually kill a teenage girl.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys do not know that they are looking for a man that was actually seduced by the teenage girl, that it wasn't him luring her in or anything. Like, so no one had all the information, so that was interesting. But it did seem like, to some extent, you could get rid of everything prior to David Warner leaving with the girl, and that whole invasion wouldn't be very different.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit different. And what was frustrating for me about that was I did think there was a lot of really strong stuff in the first 2/3 or so. I thought there was a lot of complicated stuff about the relationship. I mentioned this is so much more than just a busy husband and woman doesn't get enough attention movie. Mm-hmm. We've all seen thousands of those. It was so much more complicated than that. And the ending itself, the climax, is complicated, but it's for different reasons, and a lot of the complications earlier in the story don't really pay off.
Yeah.
So I liked it, I didn't love it.
I have a very similar opinion to you. I don't understand why they had to introduce so many characters that really did nothing for the story.
The vicar really doesn't add to anything at the end.
No. And I mean, he exists in the story for Dustin Hoffman to kind of prove that he's a bit of a dick. There's a lot, like, then all the guys like Charlie and Scott and Kazi and any of the guys working on the roof, like two of those guys are bad guys. And then the other two guys just exist. They're just guys. They're just shitty guys.
The exception of Kazi, who's clearly the biggest monster, and Charlie, who certainly has a personality and he has a unique relationship with Amy. I was going to say, for the most part, the British villagers, the relatively young men British villagers, there wasn't a lot differentiating those guys. However many there were, there could have been two fewer, there could have been two more. It wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah. And I also didn't like the whole idea that these guys are upset because a woman who came from their own village isn't fucking them. Instead, she's fucking and married an American mathematician. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's got to be something a little more.
Well, and again, that's why I kind of jokingly brought up they could have made this movie about anti-Semitism because, listen, there's no hiding that nose, Dustin Hoffman. But I thought that was developed well enough. That was complicated enough because it was like Charlie clearly never got over her. It was more just they thought David was a loser. Mm-hmm. He is a loser in many, many ways until the ending, obviously. I thought that was acceptable. I understand where you're coming from. If someone told me that this movie was about, it's about this American that moves into town with his British wife and it's his British wife's old hometown and everyone hates him because he's American, I'm like, that sounds stupid. I thought the movie was far more nuanced than that. I'll just say that. That's the beauty of Peckinpah and of the screenplay, too, because, again, this is based on a novel, and I read a little bit about the novel. Peckinpah said they gave him this book, and he and some other writer were, like, trying to make a screenplay, and he's like, book was trash. It's like, the book sucked. The only thing we kept from the book was the siege. Apparently, the novel was kind of like dime store trash.
Okay, well...
At least that's according to Peckinpah, and I trust his judgment. He's an incredible filmmaker.
The other thing I didn't like about the story was I didn't like this kind of switching back and forth between David and Amy having their good days and their bad days. And I know that, with a marriage or with a relationship, you do have good days and bad days. You have arguments, sometimes you make up later. But it was just kind of all over the map. Like that first scene, that first night scene where they're fooling around.
Would you have liked it more if it was just consistently more negative?
No, if it had been positive first and then things happen, like, he learns that she had a relationship with Charlie in the past and she's not being serious.
Yeah, you definitely could have structured the film a little differently.
Yeah, and things keep happening. He doesn't want a cat, but she gets this fucking cat, and it's pissing all over his papers or something, or she fucks up his equations by accident or on purpose, like just stuff like that. Like it could have been this kind of slow, kind of gradual descent into this unhappy marriage, but instead it was just so hot and cold that by the end of the movie I'm like, I don't think these people were gonna make it anyway. Do they love each other? Do they not love each other? Did she save her husband because she cares about her husband, or just because she didn't want to see him die,
So I understand what you mean. I also think that's what makes it a strength at the end, though, because I do like at the end of the film there is so much ambiguity about that relationship. Because again, much of the film she's complained he's a coward. He's a coward. He doesn't have principles. We see he's not a coward. He does have principles. He will defend this house at all costs. But it's like, did he go too far now? And does she, and then we get a lot of her perspective early. That stuff is all really well done. We don't get a lot of her perspective during the siege, but it also makes sense because she's kind of just getting away. I mean, she does express she doesn't want Henry in the house. She wants him to just let them take Henry. She doesn't want him to fight back the way he's doing. But yeah, I don't know. But I do like that ambiguity, though.
Yeah, and I think that's done very well in the very last line, where he says,
oh yes,
I don't.
Yes,
that's
sure.
Okay. I don't either. That's when it hits you when you're like, oh my god, like does he?
Is that even his home anymore?
Yeah.
Is his home in England?
Yes, or is he talking about himself? I don't recognize the person I am anymore because I've changed so much.
To quote Federico Garcia Lorca, or rather the English translation of him, I am not myself, and my house is not my home.
There you go. Yeah.
I think this movie is really good. I will say, I think I've seen 4 Peckinpah movies now. This might be my least favorite of the 4. I might like it a bit. It's been a long time since I've seen The Getaway, but I remember really, really liking that. And I saw Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid not too long ago. I think that's a really good movie. The Wild Bunch is a masterpiece. That's, like I said earlier, that's one of the best movies of all time. I think that's got to be Peckinpah's best. But I think this movie is very thematically complex. I also think it doesn't pay off all of its themes that it sets up. It is a little frustrating to a certain extent. The siege is amazing. It is so well done.
Yeah.
But I feel like not everything in the movie leads to it. It's really just that church talent show or whatever the hell that was that like leads to, like, it's when Henry leaves with the girl. It's like everything kind of prior to that just didn't really add up to this in an incredibly satisfying way. So it did frustrate me as much as I respect the movie.
And and that makes sense. Like if Peckinpah said, "Hey, we created everything before the siege," then that would kind of make sense. That I guess it would make sense why that's a little lacking.